But I want to say something because I don't want to deal in Black trauma and trauma porn today. I don't want to. I want to do something a little different. I want to take apart Dr. Carr has us in communication with ancestors. We sit, we read what they said, and we apply it to today because there's a blueprint for how, or also some clues about what we should be doing differently. Because I feel like I'm in Groundhog's Day. Mm-hmm. It feels like we're insane, y'all. We're insane. We keep doing the same thing. So this clip was going around today on the Twitter sphere of James Baldwin, who I absolutely love. I'm Not Your Negro. I love The Fire Next Time. I've read all like profound stuff, but there was something in this clip that people were like, yeah, that made me go, no. And I want to talk to you about it. And I was so glad that you're going to be here. Drew McCaskill's here. And I would invite everybody because these are the kind of conversations we need to have among ourselves. But more importantly, these are the kinds of conversations that should lead to action. They should lead to you doing something different. 866-801-8255. All right, play clip 2.
The American idea of progress. When Americans talk about progress, they mean how fast I become white. That's a trick bag. Because I know perfectly well I can never become white. I drunk my share of dry martinis. I have proven myself civilized in every way I can. But there is an irreducible difficulty. Something doesn't work. Well, I decided I might as well act like
a N-word. And as people are laughing and folk are posting this, I got angry in the moment. And not so much at James Baldwin, but at a country that forces somebody to view their worth and value through the lens of a made-up construct. Mm-hmm. That James Baldwin's worth and value is the juxtaposition to something called whiteness that doesn't exist, except, well, it exists because people made it exist to justify the horrors that they did to human beings. So you had to dehumanize the human beings. You had to erase the history of those human beings that you brought here to build your wealth, that you brought here to build your country, that you brought here to suckle your babies and raise your children and raise your cattle and do all the things and give you wealth. You had to dehumanize and devalue and erase all of the things that you stole from them, including the vast history that gave you everything from math to science to community, to aqueducts, to autopsies. And I can be here forever telling you what the center of the world called Africa brought the world. But in this speech, well, I might as well act like an N-word, which again is a made up construct that was formed and fomented to put people who have melanin, which is the majority of the people on this earth, into a subclass that would then justify everything that you did to them afterwards, right? And I think it's time, because as I was processing this, I was like, you know what I don't do? I'm gonna be completely transparent. I don't center whiteness in anything that I do. It is not a consideration. I don't do anything in response to it. I don't wake up thinking about it until it's brought to my attention. And then my whole entire being is about eradicating the ills and the impact on the babies, more importantly, because no child should be in this country. I was talking to a buddy of mine who started an amazing website called Shine My Crown, right? And his 3-year-old daughter came home from nursery school, and daddy, the girl in my class said my hair looks like rope, and I don't know what to do about it. And, and she was distraught and crying. And he said in that moment, he felt paralyzed because what do I say to my 3-year-old baby about her hair, and racism? Mm-hmm. I don't want to have that conversation. Right. So he decided he was going to start a tech company, a website where he would celebrate, Shine My Crown, celebrate all of the beautiful Black women and their hair and all of that. There's Crown Magazine that does the same. There's a lot of iterations of that, but that's a reaction to something. But it also kind of codifies for, there's like books and so many, Black hair that won an Oscar, so many iterations to kind of combat this, but if we start with this is the center of everything and we build from there, and there's no centering of that which is made up to completely destroy another group of people and all people, but that group that you made up, then I think the paradigm shifts, right? So if you're building anything, your company, your business, because here's the truth of the matter, they're coming anyway. They can't stay away. They're going to come, eat your food, listen to your music, buy your music, dance to your music, buy your tickets to your con. You don't have to, let me try to cater to you. Ain't got to cater to it because it doesn't really exist. It's made up and it needs you for culture and relevance. Yeah. So we're playing a backwards game here of chasing, please accept me, please see me, please value me, Black Lives Matter. No, stop begging.
Yeah.
Stop
and
begging.
when you say that part, Karen, about they will come for whatever that thing is, I think I even look at Juneteenth and how Black folks honored Juneteenth without the white lens for 100+ years, and now you got ice cream flavors and popcorn and all this kind of stuff, and social media is one of those things that I pop in and pop out in the way that I want to. And then I don't listen to a lot of the noise, but I posted on LinkedIn, which is a company I work for, full transparency, about the fact that Juneteenth is not a marketing opportunity, right? And in less than 7 days, 1,800,000 people, impressions or whatever, of mostly Black people saying, I sent this to somebody at work because of how you broke it down. And I was like, we have been celebrating Juneteenth without the white gaze for hundreds of years, for 100+ years, right? And we have done it in our own way and in our own magic, our own reverence, our own celebration. Because of the perseverance, we know what that line looks like, right? And what's crazy to me is like, oh, y'all have a Black people holiday that, oh, well, there's a little bit of slavery involved, but there's cookouts and picnics too, right? So we could do something with that. You know what I mean? Like, no, we don't need anybody to do something with that. I listened to the Baldwin clip, and I think that one of his greatest gifts as a writer and an essayist and as a speaker and a thinker and a brilliant, complicated mind was satire. And I honestly think that in that moment, what he was doing was using humor and irony to kind of ridicule and expose the dominant class of like, okay, no matter how many martinis I drink or how precise my diction is, or for us Black folks in corporate America, how many St. John suits and J. Crew sweaters and Tag Heuer watches you buy, you're never going to be white, right? And one of the reasons why I love showing up just Black as hell, just gay as hell, come to the meeting and talk about my boyfriend, talk about how we go on dates and live together, we're shacked up, talk about how I'm going to go do all these Black things with my Black friends and my Black family, and we love each other and all our Black ass selves, right? Is because I know that people look at me and say, oh, he's successful. But what I want other Black folks to see is that I'm not successful because of my ability to emulate whiteness. I'm successful in spite of the fact that people expect you to try and emulate whiteness.
And I want us to take the conversation to, I'm successful because I'm me. You see, because once you add in spite of, you're centering whiteness again, because now you're like, look, see, because in spite of everything you tried to do, no, I'm successful because the center of the world was Africa and still is. Yeah. And that flows through my DNA, and all of the hardships before that 400-year interruption is small, but I come from a people of abundance.
Yeah.
Where the sun shines and there's clean water and there's cobalt and diamonds and gold and silver and lobster and everything. Every fruit you can't even imagine grows plentiful. I come from abundance. That's in my DNA.
Every herb.
So guess what? I'm gonna share a story I was gonna say for Thursday. So there's billionaires talking, they're talking about all the money they're making, Drew. They're talking about all the money. So I'm gonna, next year I'm gonna, add $10 billion. I'm gonna do 15 billion. What, I want this, I want that. And then they went to the third billionaire. And he says, I have something none of you have. And they're like, what is that? He said, enough. I have enough. And at the end of the day, if you're enough and you have enough, that chasing of the thing that already is made up by the made up people, this thing called success. No, I got everything. You got your family. You got somebody that loves you. You got a roof over your head. You're eating. And guess what? We come together as community. Everybody eats. Yeah. Because there's enough. You've been in families that have been quote unquote poor. Somehow my mama used to talk about growing up in the projects in Augusta, Georgia. They would go next door to borrow an egg. And the lady would say, a whole egg? She had 7 kids. My grandmother had 4. A whole egg? You want a whole egg? But they would get that one egg and everybody would eat from the person that didn't have anything next door. She would lend that one egg, a whole egg. Mm-hmm. When we're in community, we all eat when we see one another as not as the competition. Right. Monique and DL Hughley. It's not the we're not the competition. Yeah. We don't compete against one another. Yeah.
The best 2 things that either one of them ever did was a collaboration amongst Black people when they said we're going to have our own tour that's going to be our own movie. And the best thing that they could have done was to say, you know what, we shouldn't just make it kings, we should make it queens too. An idea that launched 1,000 careers, right? But now y'all arguing about who's headlining in the public square.
That's
when y'all got each other number.
Right. That's the whitest thing you could do. Right. That lack. Oh, I got to be on top. What's the top? What the bottom? It's to say the top is the bottom flipped up. Like, come on now. There's enough room for everybody. And Dante said this yesterday. If you're really that G, you about that life, let her have it. You ain't taking nothing away. You good. You're going to be good first, second, third. I love the underdog, or not even the underdog. Well, I've risen to that. I've been in this business. Ain't nobody. Janet told us, what have you done for me lately? Nobody cares what you did. It's unfortunate. At the same time, we do need to pay homage to people's work that they put in. But at the same time, you never stop working. You don't rest on your laurels. You don't come phone it in. This show I've been doing for 7 years. I'll be damned if I'm going to get up, come in here and act like this is not special, that these people aren't special, that pay for radio, that what we do is not important. Every day I'm going to come in, I work on a freaking holiday because nobody's working on a holiday. So I'm going to show up. Yeah. And I'm going to get y'all through to and from your cookout. If you just spending a minute or 5 minutes or an hour or the whole 3 hours, I'm going to be here. Yeah. But that's what that's supposed to look like. I can rest on, I have the best show. And yes, the hottest show in the galaxy because I keep it hot. I keep throwing logs on the fire. Why? Because this flame ain't never going out. It's eternal. And because I also come from abundance. It's in my DNA. And it ain't got nothing to do with nobody else's show. I don't give a damn what anybody else is doing anywhere. Yeah. This is us.
I had the same conversation with the this Black mentor circle that I did earlier today, and I was like, "Yo, the worst thing you could possibly do is to try to be the one, or to try to be the only one, right? Just be you and like shine. And and the people that are around you that are shining too, you shouldn't be intimidated. You should be proud. Like, let's all shine together. Like we should all do this together. Like, it shouldn't be one of those things where I hated that part about corporate America when I first got in there. It was like, oh, well, we already got one shiny Black person. So, and then you couldn't really deal with that person because they were like, okay, well, you can't take my spot.
Instead of y'all coming together and going, oh, they think it's just one of us.
Let's come on.
Let's bring 15 more because But that's how we win. All right. Now that's that lack mentality, because you come from a cave where you knuckle dragged and you were cold, you ain't had nothing to eat. So now everybody's something you got to take it because you don't know. And let me hold on and steal because I don't know when my next meal is coming. I come from abundance.
Right.
I'm sorry that's in your DNA. That's
everybody
not
with a mouth is not competition. Everybody with hands could be a potential partner. Like, you got to think about it totally differently. You know what I'm saying? Like, we, in terms of working together, and I feel like that's one of the biggest, like, outsized myths that comes from trying to figure out how to do some of these things through the image and through that white lens, because you're still trying to figure out how to actually do some of these amazing things that we're capable of doing, that actually we probably could go back and look at a little history book here and read and sit in on a class with Carr here and kind of get some of these cheat codes that have been out here available to us for a long time, and see the blueprint of how people did some of these things outside of that gaze, right? That they just were building. The thing that hurt me so much too, Karen, about the shooting in Buffalo was it reminded me of the Tulsa thing. This is somebody who went specifically to where Black people were living in peace, where they were going about their Black ass business, doing what they were doing, and they were functioning and prospering and doing these things. And somebody said, "Oh, there's a place over there where a bunch of the Black people are living and living free," right? When and it scared me, not scared me in that like, oh, I'm scared. It scared me for like the future in terms of how much work there is for us to do. Whenever I prayed in groups of Black folks, I prayed over the food when I had people over to the house this weekend. And I blessed God for being free Black people. And I blessed God for all of the agency that was in this room, in this house. I bless God for the fact that nobody can't come and move me out of here, right? Like, it's gonna take you can't come and just move me out of here, right? And the fact that we are those free Black people, right? Born of free Black people, all of us, everybody in that room, we are free Black people, born of free Black people. Some even of those born of free Black people. There's no limit to what we can do because of what people who were not free did, right? And so I think about blessing that peace for being that freedom, because I think about how that Buffalo thing just reminded me of like, man, there's a lot of work for us to do. Mm-hmm. And we the ones that are gonna have to do our portion of protecting each other, right? And protecting peace in space.
Right. But that requires each person, because it's heavy on one or two, but everybody got a hand. And if you don't have a hand, you got a foot. Like, let's go. Let's go. 866-801-8255. And don't let nobody, it's a trick bag, pull you into some foolishness, even if it's us, because that's the Judas is always going to be among us. Yeah. Them 30 pieces of silver is always going to be attractive to somebody among us. But we also have to be vigilant in eradicating or pulling Judas along and sitting Judas's ass down and, letting Judas know what's not going to happen. And if you're Judas,
right.
Look in the mirror and know if maybe you're Judas. Yeah. Figure it out.